Hello and good morning, everyone. You should be able to see my stream. It's good to see you here. My name is Paul Trani, Evangelist for today. This is Creative Kickoff, Illustrator Pro Tips Part 2. Realized I did this last week in about 26, 27 minutes. Was not nearly enough time, so that's why I'm back. Same topic. But again, it's all about pro tips, so that's why I'm glad you are here. So, just give me a thumbs up, make sure audio is good and all that good stuff. That would be awesome to see, just to make sure you guys can see and hear me and all that good stuff. So, hopefully I'm coming in loud and clear. So, and then we'll get the party started. All right, hello Sean, hello General Kenobi, Peter, Susan, Catherine, everyone. All good. Awesome. Thank you. Let's get this party started. Hello, my name is Paul Trani, and this is a Creative Kickoff where I'm covering pro tips. So, my name is Paul. Here's your first pro tip. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And just to recap what we covered last week, if I go to File, New, we now have this magic file right here. So we have this one. It's called Everything. I made this one last week, Paul's Pro Tips, but I have an Everything file. So that just gets me up and running quickly. So when I select it, it has all my good stuff in there, like all my brushes, and then all my graphic styles, all my symbols. And for me, most importantly, has like all my swatches. So all these, I use these swatches like all the time, and I hated just kind of remixing them every single time. So that's what I mainly use it for, is brushes and swatches. And that's your startup file, and has the size that you want, and you can get this party started. So we can start with some simple text. And also what I covered, so when I start typing, right in here, we can see we have this text. So this is the custom text that I've also added. We're just going to do Fathom. And I kind of want to use make this brand. And, you know, my first tip is actually a new feature. And it includes sort of taking assets, because right over here I have some assets that everything's already outlined. And quite frankly, I want to use them for this project. So here we are. Everything is outlined. This happens to be an image. I'd like to steal the font, whatever font this is. I'd like to know what it is. Well, enter Retype. This is Retype Beta right here. Okay, Retype Beta, I'm going to select it. We'll go and click enter. So we'll analyze that particular shape, because it's not even a font. It doesn't even know that it's text. Oh, but wait, it does. Look, you can see it has Genty, regular, and then gives me other alternatives based on what's on my desktop as well as from Adobe fonts. So we're talking 20,000 plus fonts. So I know it's Genty, regular. Oh, look what I can do here. I can click apply and exit. And now it's actually editable text. So come in here, outside, you can see you can change that, ERS, whatever you want to do. You can see that it does its magic, which is so cool. So that's Retype. That's what I'll use for my projects, because I've outlined fonts, and it's just a nightmare. But now all I need to do is just steal that font like so. We'll steal Genty, regular. And right in here, as I select this, I can try a little curly Q, like so. Little flourish is super fun. Hello, Penny, Marsha, Robert. What's up, guys? Just good to see you. Ryan is in the house. So this is really cool. And this happens to be probably my favorite, or one of my go-to fonts, Genty, regular. It's very much like Lust Script Pro, which is also another favorite of mine, just so you're aware. All right, next pro tip. In fact, let's just kind of isolate this so nothing gets in the way. But I want to do something cool with Fathom. In this case, check this out. This is I'll just click right here. Boom. This is what we have. Pro tip. Let's just switch over really fast so you guys know what I'm talking about. This is Creative Kickoff. This is a pro tip in Illustrator. Check this out. This is pro tip number 2. It's this situation where you have, especially with script fonts, how they don't flow one to the next letter. Super annoying. So what do people do? They'll typically jump in and they will, basically create outlines and destroy it and no longer make it a font, right? They'll do that. So it's no longer a font. It's no longer as flexible as I want it to be. So let's undo that, because how do you fix that? You use the appearance panel right over here, and you add a fill that's going to be on top of the stroke. So your fill, just so we can experiment, we can change this color. It's going to be blue. And the stroke, I'll usually have a stroke in here. That'll be black. This stroke right here, see that stroke? As long as the stroke is underneath the fill, we're not going to have this problem anymore. Look, here's our problem. Drag the stroke beneath it. Problem solved. So to solve the issue of text not flowing together, use the appearance panel. Okay. Khalid, that's my goal. Make you fall in love with Illustrator again. I love the appearance panel because as you get more comfortable with Illustrator, your appearance panel is going to be your best friend because you could do so many things. You'll notice sometimes in your properties panel for fill, like sometimes you can't add, let's just throw a gradient in here. We can add a gradient. We don't get a lot of control. That's not necessarily how I add a gradient. I come in here, I use the appearance panel, click right here. Oh, excuse me, that's the fill. Was I doing that on the stroke? Let's just do this really fast. Bing. Wait for it. Sort of a gradient there, that's fine. I end up using this appearance panel because I can add a gradient. Let's do this a couple times. This might get kind of ugly, who knows. But let's take this, we'll make this fill 10 point. Okay, we'll take this and we'll duplicate it. And we'll have a second one that's say 20 point. So we've made 2. Let's change this to a different gradient. Boy, is that vibrating. But there we have sort of that second stroke. And then we'll duplicate that and we'll make a third stroke. Each increased by 10 point, and we can have sort of as much depth as we want. Or layering if you want to, which I think is really cool. Yes, all right. Okay, so what happens now? So here's our next pro tip. Some like just full of news. But this situation where I have this text, and what if I want to double or triple the thickness of the stroke? What if I want to triple the thickness? How do we do that? Do we have to go into the appearance panel and change all of these, wherever my appearance panel is? Let's open it up because I think I pulled it out for friendliness. There we go. Do we have to go in here and change this from 10 to 20 to 30 to 20, to 40 to 60? No, you don't need to. Let me show you how you can globally adjust the stroke thickness and everything, all the effects, even if there's a gradient in here. And that's what's fantastic about the appearance panel is I could throw a gradient in here as well. And it's like, I want to increase the thickness of all these properties. Check this out. In your properties panel, it says scale, strokes, and effects. This is what I would do. I would turn that off. So we'll select this. So this is brand new tip. This is tip number 2. Here's a pro tip in Illustrator. Let's check this out. Right in here. I want to double the thickness of all the lines and all the effects and everything, right? Rather than having to adjust it in here in my appearance panel, what I can do is I can go to my properties panel, don't scale strokes and effects. So now when I scale the text, look at how much thicker everything gets. So it's like, yeah, increased the thickness. The issue is my text is really small. So how can we make this text larger while keeping those lovely thick lines and effects? Well, just select it now. Actually, don't need to select it yet. Just turn on scale, strokes, and effects, and then grab it and scale it up. And now you can see everything is twice the thickness. So hopefully that makes sense. It's just a way to double the size of all your strokes and effects. How do you do that? You shrink it down by 50%, you check the box, and you scale it back up. And then it will scale everything back up 100, another 50% back to its original size, which will be 200%. All right. So that's not bad. We still kind of have some issues with this gradient that I would probably fix. I'll probably open up the gradient panel just to kind of adjust accordingly. Maybe change this to -90, something like that. There, it's a little easier to read. Hey, we're just experimenting. All right. And this is just one idea. So once I've created something like this, I'll often save it back to my graphic styles. So now it's saved right over here, just like that. And you can see a number of them that I have. So I can jump in, try out a different sort of text or graphic style on this to get something that I like, or even go back to sort of your default. Let's try this one really fast. Wait for it. Ryan, it's good to see you, man. Back in the 80s with that, I know. It's like 80s, maybe 90s. I don't know. I get 80s, 90s. It's like 90s still from the 80s when it came to neon colors. Sort of the early 2000s, 90s. So look at that, Fathom. Oh, yeah. Look at all those cool effects. That's all done in the appearance panel. Layering strokes, effects, one on top of the next. This is the problem that you might run into when it comes to strokes and effects, is just this rendering time, right? So you have to consider at what point will it make more sense for me to use Photoshop to do, say, this sort of effect, okay? Which is not bad. All right. Now, what if you've added all these appearances and you're like, oh, I don't like that. I just want to get it back down to where it was. Do this flyout menu, reduce to basic appearance, shabam, and we're back to where we were. Our basic appearance, of, say, black. And this just gives me a second to kind of bring up another pro tip, which I didn't know for the longest time. Let's go into brushes. You remember 90s being plaids and dark colors. I believe wearing that stuff for sure was the case. Like, plaids. Remember sort of grunge? Oh, man. The grunge, plaid, sort of your Pearl Jams and Soundgardens of the world. So here, we can create a brush just by creating any sort of shape that has stuff on top of it. Right? So we can grab... I'm just going to do this really rough because this is already made, but essentially... if I wanted to make, because for Fathom, I want to make like an octopus tentacle brush. So I can use these graphics. I could take them, drop them in here, and that will enable me to make, a pattern brush, right? That's how pattern brushes are made. That's not the pro tip. The pro tip is once you make that, so what do? You delete it, and say you want to modify it again. Or basically, if you want to modify any one of these brushes, you can change it by double-clicking it. Okay, and you can make sure that it's thicker or whatever the case is, give it some end caps, things like that. But I didn't know this for years. You could just click and drag, this is your pro tip, and drop it on here. And look, here is the center of that brush, the end caps, or excuse me, the corners of those brushes. And if it has end caps, like say my snake does, just grab it and drop it on. I just didn't know that for years. So now from here, what I can do is I can make a new brush based on these elements since it's right over here. I just didn't know that. It's probably a Paul, you're a goofball sort of thing. But anyways, what does this brush do? Well, let's show you right in here. We'll hit N for pencil. We'll select our brush. We'll go draw that out and increase the size. So I'm increasing the size, and then I'll change the width profile to something like that. In fact, what I'll do is I'll play with the width tool in here as well, so we can kind of adjust that, because I do want it a little bit thicker, but this is my brush. Okay. Now, when I select the pencil tool and I draw again, we're back to that default stroke. This is so annoying. So this brings me to my next tip. So here we go. So for those of you just joining me, my name is Paul. This is a pro tip in Illustrator. Check this out. When it comes to, say, using brushes and using the pencil, here's a case where I need to draw out a line and then apply that brush to it, and then I have to adjust it based on maybe the width, using these width properties or the width tool. There we are. Oh, good. I want it to always be this thick. Okay, so it's like I modified that, but I need to do like 7 other tentacles or however many other ones. Well, each time I draw, it's back to that default line. I hate that. That's so annoying. Well, how do you fix this? All you need to do is go to your appearance panel. Go to your appearance panel, select the flyout menu, and uncheck New Art has basic appearance. Click right there. Turn that off. Now, it's not going to reduce it to its basic appearance anytime you draw a new line. It's going to remember. Thank you for remembering the last used brush or element or text or whatever the case may be. How nice is that? So, New Art does not have basic appearance. Works out really well. All right, sorry, Julhani, about your crashing issue. I'm so sorry. All right, so there we are. This looks good. Actually, for this, I'm going to play with this a little bit. Let's do like 3. I'm trying to make somewhat of a cool logo or something. Here's another thing. When you're drawing content, chances are it's not going to look that good, especially if you're using the pencil, because the pencil is by default set to the center. So you might think you're horrible at drawing. You'll draw out something that's supposed to be smooth and look at how lumpy it is. Well, don't do that. Double click on your pencil tool, change this to smooth, and also option key toggles to the smooth tool. So now I'll jump in here, I'll draw that same line. It still looks kind of rough, but watch. Bink. Oh yeah, smooths it out. Option key smooths it out more, right? Just a little bit. Overall, the option key will also bring up the smooth options. So I can take this and drag it this way to the right, and that will smooth out the whole line. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? So nice. So easy to work with. I'm into it. Sean, what's up? Okay, so here we are. Let's do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm trying to figure out if I should have 2 or 3. Ooh, there's a lot of. Smooth that out. Boy, it accidentally like really gave me, oh. Let's jump back into Illustrator real fast, shall we? Also, a quick heads up for everybody. I'm going to be doing some traveling So if you're in San Diego, I'm going to be in San Diego Wednesday, LA Thursday. In 2 weeks, I'll be on the East Coast in Raleigh and someplace else. But basically keep an eye out for, I don't know, myself on social media, because we're getting our travel going. So yeah, just keep an eye out for my schedule. All right, let's get back in it to win it. There we are. Let's get back in it. Real fast, what I wanted to do is to do intertwine. So I'm going to select, let's just select one of these for the sake of time and simplicity. Zoop. Let's redraw this line. Look at that crazy thing. Let's make it a little bit thicker. Oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about. So, my next tip. Here's a pro tip for you in Illustrator. Check this out. This is huge. Right in here. I want this tentacle to weave in and out with that text. So typically it means creating all these like layer sandwiches, like copying this text, pasting it on top, masking it. It's a pain. You guys know what I'm talking about. Well, now you could just select both of them, go to the object, clear down to intertwine, and from here, select make. All right, now it's actually made, giving me the ability to have this tentacle overlap, go under or over the text. So I'm just going to draw this huge circle, and this is how I work, and I'll push it behind. And then it will be in front, and then it will be still in front. Maybe for this part, I'll have it be behind. So a little circle right there. And then I could even play with this some more. So let's take this line. Let's push it out. I would simplify this line probably a little bit more. But I do want it to kind of overlap. Wait for it. But this is how I normally work. Kind of do. This is why I love Illustrator. Just giving me the ability to tweak it accordingly. Let's grab this bottom part, pull it down. Do one more little thing. Get in there. I want to edit this once more. We'll go down to intertwine. We'll go to edit. And right down here, I want this to be under... you know, I want this to be under this part, but over this part. So it's just a matter of playing with it. Circle, boom, easy enough. If I want to toggle what's in front or behind, notice how it highlights it right here. So I can click on that, put it in front, push it behind, and that's how that works. And now we have a cool sort of intertwined logo, which I think is kind of neat. What's up, Bruce? Good to have you. So many tips that I've just kind of been, you know, riffing on. Let me, here's another thing that I use a lot. I'm like, I can show you a lot of things, but like, let's go to, you know, a different project because I want to steal colors. I'm often stealing colors and remapping those colors. So let's jump in here. I happen to have some, you know, logos. I'm going to take this because this has like a cool color scheme, if you will. Let's paste this in. And I might want to try these colors on this design. So I can select both of these. We'll go to edit. We'll go into recolor artwork. And then this pops up. So I could tweak these colors, or I could use this color theme picker. So that allows me to just select that or drag. If it's a large image, you can just select an area and it will remap those colors to the project that I'm working on, and see how it's changed it and just has given me sort of a new or different idea. From there, I'll go into advanced options and then tweak accordingly. Maybe unlock that because I noticed some of that's a little dark. We can make that a little brighter, like so. Even right in here. make that a little bit more pink, but I'm just tweaking. That's all. Oh, let's make this look really ugly. So basically we'll get this back to where it was before. But I'm into it. And you can see the power of what I'm working on. Cool. Yeah, you get the idea. What format can you use with recolor? Any format you can use with recolor. You can even use a bitmap image. So steal from a bitmap image, steal from, you know, pretty much anything. Lastly, last little pro tip. Another pro tip dealing with just brainstorming color. So let me show you this. Right here. I like the color, seems to be okay. You know what? I want to just brainstorm colors, generative recolor. Boom, jump in there. I want an underwater fantasy. Hitting enter. It could be an abstract phrase. It's like, hey, use this Gen AI to just come up with some different colors. And then we'll select those different colors, and that's what we get. Sort of these fun, sort of underwater fantasy-like colors, as you can see. So pretty cool. You get the idea. Thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with me this week and every week with the designer. Appreciate you guys. Stay in touch. We'll see you later. Thanks.